We are here today. Today we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment data going live. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today. Be ready. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today. Crude oil is breaking highs it has not seen in over a year. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude up to $86 a barrel right now. NASDAQ has been testing lows of the day. It's gone red on the day, under 25,000 on the NASDAQ. We can take a look at the SPY here. The SPY is red as well at 678. We can see E-mini futures on the S&P are at 6,800s. We can see NVIDIA all the way down to 181s. We did have Gap earnings, I believe. That came in pretty rough. Bad sales numbers that they're blaming on the winter storm. And yeah, markets are nervous still right now. Now, just to put everything into perspective, we're going to walk through why this is happening very soon. But yeah, it's a scary market right now. It's a scary market. So let me pull this up. Oil prices are climbing, specifically because a risk premium into crude on top of otherwise tight global balances. So the Strait of Hormuz has been a big talking point through all of this here. Look at oil. And then again, you can see gold on the right side here. Gold on the right side, only slightly green. But Iran's attacks on tankers and threats to burn any ship have sharply slowed traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Carries roughly 20% of global oil and liquefied natural gas, LNG, with some routes effectively shut and insurance costs have been spiking. One of the reasons, though, that oil is spiking this morning, like the top reason, is because Qatar's energy minister warns that the Iran war could soon force Gulf producers to shut in supply and drive crude towards $150 a barrel. And then today's NFP report kind of tests how much economic pain the Fed might be willing to take in this market that fears inflation because of surging oil prices. Now, sometimes oil going up can signal, good and bad things in terms of inflation. But in this specific aspect, because of all the stuff going on, it signals bad things in terms of inflation with oil prices rising. And so there's been attacks on the United Arab Emirates as well, the infrastructure there, and they're adding to the risk premium for oil. But the main driver of the oil spikes are broader Gulf supply and shipping disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz choke point, hits on Saudi and Qatar facilities and tankers. We had news earlier that the Iran-linked drones and missiles have hit sites like the Fuhara oil terminal and other UAE facilities, but officials say fires were contained and operations resumed. So that loss looks limited so far. There's bigger regional shocks, though. Drone missile strikes and threats have damaged or shut refineries and terminals in Saudi Arabia and more. They've hit tankers / traffic through the Strait of Hormuz to a fraction of what would normally be allowed to go through. And yeah, oil is up, guys. Oil is up. Look at gold surge right now as we speak as well here. We have a bunch of Fed speakers as well today. So honestly, we got a lot of stuff for a Friday here. But it's a scary market right now. A scary market. NASDAQ breaking lows. WTI crude up to the highest level in over a year as we speak here, guys, today. I believe we have a Fed speaker at 7:30 in 10 minutes. I can't remember who it was. But there's been some scary stuff in news. So anyways, let's take a look at what we're expecting today here. So here's Market Watch economic calendar. Today we have the unemployment report. Most people are expecting about 50,000 for today's non-farm payroll report. 50K is what people are expecting. Unemployment expected to downtick 0.1% to 4.3% today is what we're looking at least according to Market Watch. We also have hourly wages, retail sales delayed report also dropping at 8:30, business inventories at 10. And then I thought we had more Fed speakers than this. I think we have one that speaks at 7:30. I'm trying to figure out who it is. Let me check. Hold on. I know we have a bunch of Fed speakers that aren't listed here. But yeah, markets are pricing in a broad Gulf supply and logistics risk. UAE attacks are one piece, but oil at 85 is because the whole Gulf supply system in the Strait of Hormuz is shutting down, basically under threat. It's not just one specific country's production pushing oil higher. It is a lot of different things. A lot of different things today. Waller is speaking at 8 minutes. That's correct. That is correct. So no, I believe it's Hassett. No, Hassett speaks at 9:30. So Kevin Hassett speaks at 9:30 today. Waller, Governor Waller's remarks about the jobs report, but it's not listed with a precise time, but I think it's at 7:30. No barking. Here, let me get my cool little thing up here. Pop out the chat. Make sure we got this in line here. I usually have a cool little chat docket. Let me figure it out. Ooh, all right, guys. All right. There we go. I got it. All right, guys. Look at gold here. Gold. NASDAQ down to lows here. We might be getting ready to trade this, but the NASDAQ is down to lows. It's at 24,860s. 24,860s. So I see M Stone here saying the NFP number is forecast at 58,000, which is already trash. Yeah, it's definitely not good, I would say. 58K is definitely not good. It's not good relative to normal. Now, maybe right now in this modern market, over the last few months, 58,000 might be seen as better, but it's definitely not good. Last time we did show up at 130,000, though. A lot of people did not trust the last reading, though. Last time we showed up at 130,000, unemployment showed up at 4.3%. We also had UK's Prime Minister's spokesperson say UK holds substantial emergency and commercial stocks of oil. The European Union's von der Leyen and Costa are going to speak with Gulf leaders on Monday next week, and the EU Commission is looking at possible financial support to aid the resumption of supplies via the Druzhba oil pipeline. Mass layoffs in 2026. How bad will inflation get this week, guys? Next week, remember, we have consumer prices coming out as well. So is a low NFP number bullish or bearish for Bitcoin? Bitcoin is going to want probably lower numbers, but it's a little bit more nuanced with Bitcoin. Bitcoin wants easing, and so what will stimulate Bitcoin is easing. I should have said what will stimulate Bitcoin is stimulation. But no, easing will generally make Bitcoin go higher, but it's not a perfect correlation either. And what causes more of a urgency for interest rate cuts and easing is lower job numbers. Weaker job numbers, the Fed might step in and say, hey, job numbers are weak, let's lower interest rates a little bit earlier than expected. If it gets really bad, they can say, hey, let's print to get us out of this through quantitative easing. And so I would say generally Bitcoin probably wants a lower number, but I also think Bitcoin on a short-term perspective moves with macro markets. And so whatever causes the NASDAQ and S&P to go up is probably going to make Bitcoin go up as well. AI will keep getting people fired. After seeing how Block did. Yeah, SQ or Block or whatever you want to call it. Lay off people. And you can see SQ here. What is it? What's the symbol now, dude? What's the new symbol? I can't remember the new symbol for Block. I remember it used to be SQ. What is it now? It's something else. I'm just going to have to search for it. It is XYZ. XYZ. This stock has been volatile. So this stock has been volatile. Physical AI will escalate that effect even more. Yeah, you might be right here. And again, guys, oil, $85 a barrel. Will oil break $100 a barrel in the next 30 days. It depends on how long this conflict lasts. The big story of this is how long this conflict lasts. That's the big story. How long will this conflict last? That's the big main driver here. I believe higher NFP might be better at this point since jobless claims numbers are lower than expected. This would give the market some confidence that the employment is recovering. Oil to $125. Saudi needs money. Next week over $100. We'll see, guys. Let me do a poll here. We'll do a poll. Will oil break $100? And when I say oil, I'm talking about WTI crude. We're just going to talk about WTI crude. Brent might be higher than that. And Brent, where's Brent at this morning? Is Brent over 90 today with WTI at 85s, 87s, 86s? So we have a poll going live. Will WTI crude break $100 a barrel in the next 30 days? Almost hit 90. Okay, yeah. People are buying into U.S. oil. Oh, big oil company. Here's Chevron right here as well. Chevron spiking up on this news, up to 193s today. You can look at like Exxon here. Exxon at 153s. U.S. oil, $103 a share. You can see it ripping up this morning on these oil jitters. WTI is 85.89. This is it right here. It's at $85.89 a barrel right now on WTI futures, which is simple CL. It's WTI futures. It's a West Texas Intermediate. But U.S. oil up. People are asking about gold. Here's gold. Gold at 50.90s. Basically flat on the day for gold. Silver ahead of the jobs report. Slightly red on the day right now. Slightly red on the day. And it's not just... this is not just payrolls that we get at 8:30. We get a delayed retail sales report. Bitcoin is still over 70,000 here, guys. If we take a look at Bitcoin is still over 70K, but it's starting to dip back down some. It was at 72s or more yesterday. If we put a 30-minute chart up, you can kind of see it. So it hit 74s yesterday. Came right back down to 70,000 though today. I think 70,000 is a big psychological level for Bitcoin. If we're looking at this though, 70,000 probably a level people are going to be paying attention to in Bitcoin. If we take a look at the NASDAQ here today, guys, NASDAQ 24,860s, red turned with oil. And just to go back to why this is all happening right now, markets are scared in the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow. Just to go back to why this is happening here. But Qatar's energy minister warned the Iran war could soon force Gulf producers to shut in supply and potentially drive crude towards $150. Just as today's NFP report tests how much economic pain the Fed is willing to tolerate to keep inflation in check. Okay, so that is what's going on. Qatar's energy minister saying the longer this drags on, it could drive crude up, just as today's NFP report tests everything as well. So that's what's going on right now. NASDAQ down, oil up. We needed a proper correction for a year. Hey, this might be it. I mean, this might be it. Sometimes oil, like war, can be money making as well, though. So it's not. Usually, it depends in markets, to be honest. When does this all get priced in? I'm not sure. 24,000 on the NASDAQ. Where's the next big bottom on the NASDAQ here? There's a couple levels we should look at. Oil equals inflation. No, 100% oil absolutely equals inflation right now. Sometimes oil can mean good and bad things. Ooh, will it let me stick this up here? It does? Ooh, that's nice. Hold on. Yeah, sometimes oil can mean good and bad things. But that won't be good for stocks. So somebody said, I hope you know that we will not see rate hikes or rate cuts for at least a year now. We will likely see a hike instead. I don't think that is really baked into things quite yet. I think I don't think we're going to see cuts anytime soon. To put it into perspective, GP, I don't think we're going to see cuts anytime soon. But I do think if the labor market continues to trend weak, number one, I don't think we're going to see hikes anytime soon either, personally. Not with Warsh stepping in June and May, Powell stepping down. I don't think we're going to see hikes. It's not that I want or don't want. I fear inflation as well, you know. Look at the NASDAQ continue to tumble down here, though. NASDAQ just cracked lows of the day again here, guys. So look at the NASDAQ right here. NASDAQ dropping as I speak right now. NASDAQ dropping as I speak here. So, yeah, this is a critical NFP report today, though. It's very important. I guess that's a good question. Will we get rate hikes this year, guys? Will we get rate hikes? Or stagflation fears now with oil? Let me see our poll first. I want to see what the other poll said first. I asked people, will oil break $100 a barrel? Almost everybody said yes. 73% say yes, it will. Only about 27% say no, it won't. I'll give my guess a little bit later on the stream. Raising rates is not going to stop oil from going up. You're probably right, to be honest. Look at the NASDAQ bounce here at the bottom, though. So we did crack lows. Oil is pushing towards highs again as we approach the NFP report. What are your predictions, guys, for NFP data today? What's your predictions? I see the UAE said it intercepted 9 ballistic missiles and 109 drones via the defense ministry. I also see sirens went off in Kuwait, apparently, according to Al Jazeera. And again, UK is holding substantial emergency and commercial stocks of oil, according to Wells. Well, you higher or lower payrolls today versus 50,000 expected here? I thought the Dow was at 50K. It was, brother. It was. The Dow probably getting hit the most versus some of these other things. But the Dow at 47.7s right now, under 48,000 here. Oil at $86 a barrel from WTI. Again, chat, higher or lower payrolls today? Higher or lower payrolls? Lower, higher, higher, lower, higher. I see Brian. I see Timber saying higher. I see Hedge Fudge. Higher. Benji saying lower. Graph say higher. I can respect the no idea. I can respect that. Lower. What's your prediction, John? Dude. You know, ever since I got CPI right a bunch, people want my predictions more, but like, payrolls are different, man. And I know I said this about PPI, and then I got it close to right or around right, but payrolls are different, man. They're harder to guess. Like CPI, you know, you can make a reasonable guess or estimate on it. Payrolls are different, though. Payrolls are just different. There's more variance with payrolls. The range is wider, and so I really have no. I'll give a guess, but I wouldn't hold on much weight on it, to be honest, especially versus like inflation data and stuff. Higher, lower, yeah. PPI King. I got one PPI right. Doug Muffin says higher. A lot of people saying higher, to be honest. And again, we'll see. We'll see. I think the trend has been higher lately. So I think the trend for NFP reports and payroll numbers have shown higher numbers here. So the trend has been up for payrolls. So let's take a look at this. It's not a hard number to beat. The bar is so low. NFP is mixed data. Yeah. People want my prediction is wild. I'm just saying, listen, y'all will never hear the end of this. But I got the last PPI report and the CPI report right. Y'all will never hear the end of it. I will brag about that until ever. I got purely lucky and it was a straight up guess, but you're welcome here, guys. You're welcome. Listen, people love me. They want my prediction. I can't help it, guys. Listen, you know. Obviously being sarcastic here, but listen, that's all right. Let me make sure. AI gave me this. I want to make sure it's correct, to be honest. Here is the non-farm payroll print, according to AI, over the last 6 months, up until February today. Now, today we're getting the February non-farm payroll print, but this is the trend in payrolls. And January's was a wild 130,000. Was December 75,000? Let me see. Yeah, so non-farm payrolls in December 2025, 50,000. This isn't even right. That's what I was worried about. But maybe it's the change in the data. Hey, what's up, Freddie? I know, man. I watch every day. Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It's not a hard number to beat the bar. Yeah, last numbers did show up at 130,000. The big question is, were those accurate numbers? The 130,000 reading we got last time, was that an accurate report is the question in a lot of people's minds. Was it an accurate report? And I don't know. I think it's iffy, to be honest. It's kind of iffy. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. Not accurate, according to Lee. I hope we get good cook numbers today. The question is, here's another question, chat, that I'm going to ask you guys. And I think it could go either way. Does the market want higher or lower payrolls today? Does the market want higher or lower payrolls? And just to give you some context to this question here, historically, in periods of time where inflation is a big fear in markets, markets can and have reacted negatively to really hot payroll prints. They can and have reacted negatively to really hot payroll prints. All right, so this can happen where we get strong job numbers, market tanks. We've seen this historically. We especially saw it in 2022 when inflation was at 9% for CPI, Consumer Price Index inflation. Now, are we in that situation now? Not really. Most inflation metrics have been under 4%, under 3.5%, under 3%, really. And so we're not at 9% inflation like we were in 2022. But I think with the recent rises in oil, if we take a look at bond yields here, and again, this doesn't mean it's true. I'm just giving you some context here. If we take a look at bond yields, which interest rates and yields follow each other. If we look at the last 5 days of bond yields, which means interest rate sentiment has spiked on oil prices surging up to the crazy levels that they're at right now. So the real question is, does the market want hot or low job numbers? I think it could go either way, to be honest here. Big question is, have you smashed the like button yet? I don't think anyone's looking at rate cuts. Somebody says in the comments, we are looking for anything good to cling to, so hoping good jobs will mean a little green day. It's possible. It's possible. Chris says lower. Higher oil wants higher numbers. Yeah, but look at yields, guys. Yields have spiked since this oil thing began here. Here's when the oil thing began in March right here for yields. And remember, yields and interest rates follow each other. So if yields spike, what does that mean? That means we have a higher interest rate sentiment. That means that it's looking like interest rates are going to stay higher for longer, like essentially is what it means. And so with yields spiking, it's really because of oil here, to be honest. Oil getting up to where it is now. Again, WTI crude up to $86 a barrel. is causing inflation worries. It's causing inflation worries. And yeah. Higher oil wants higher numbers. What do you think of today's NFP outcome? Higher or lower than expected? Honestly, guys, and it might be confirmation bias. I think 50,000 is kind of a low expectation, especially if we showed 130,000 last time. And so my guess for NFP today is going to be slightly higher than expected. Purely a guess. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. I'm not liable if I'm wrong and you do dumb stuff with my wrong prediction. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. But my guess is going to be like, I'm going to go with like 55, 60, 65,000 jobs on a monthly basis. What are we expecting today? What's the expectation today in jobs? I think it's like 50. And so I'm going to go with like 65 is what I think I'm going to go with today. 65 jobs. 65,000 job gains. You know, again, we're expected at 58,000, 57. I'm showing on some 55 on some other ones. I'm going to go with 65. Slightly better than expected. Don't you dare do it, Blaze. Don't do it. 65,000 is not really good. I wouldn't say 65,000 is low-key good. I would say 65,000 is better than expected, but still, if we're comparing it to like what under normal conditions would be good, it's low. It's very low still. Didn't ADP come in higher as well? Would that affect NFP? Well, it can be a predictor of NFP. ADP data earlier this month, or earlier this week, I mean, for the month, ADP data showed up at 63,000. And they're a payroll processor, so. Okay, meant a good guess. Yeah, all fair. It's all good. Paralegal. Solid job numbers would say the Fed can sit and wait. Yeah, so Waller is actually speaking right now. They started speaking at 6:30 here. 6:30. They said they don't see a lot of tariff risks left at this point. I'm still in the view that all the tariff risks is to the downside. Says still a view that could see the March meeting going either way depending on the coming data. Waller says the question is why the Fed would sit on its hands if jobs are not good. And again, Waller's a dove, just to put this into perspective. Waller says solid job numbers would say the Fed can sit and wait. January job gains were concentrated and that did not give comfort. That did not give comfort the economy as a whole was doing well. Waller says almost certain January payrolls will get revised down. January hiring was all concentrated in a couple sectors. We will find out today if the labor market is turning a corner. So, Waller speaking right now. Data dependent. Waller said the energy shocks in the 70s came in waves. Prices never came back down. We did have the U.S. Energy Secretary Wright saying on Iran and oil that the U.S. Navy will escort ships as soon as reasonable in a Fox News interview. So Waller speaking right now. They said a coming hot PCE and a solid jobs report would signal the Fed should wait. And we have PCE inflation GDP next week on Friday, I believe. That is after CPI inflation on Wednesday. Next week's a big week for inflation data, a big week. Yeah, today's a big day for sure. Waller says, I don't see widespread I can't speak today. Waller says, I don't see widespread problems in private credit. All right, guys, it is 7:45 in the morning. I appreciate you guys tuning in here. Fitch says France and UK fiscal positions are weaker amid higher deficits. Governments are more sensitive to energy prices and expects energy support measures to challenge finances in both countries. Waller also says going to see a spike in gas prices, but for them it is unlikely to cause sustained inflation via Bloomberg. Yeah, so U.S. Representative Hill, we did get an update on the semi-annual monetary policy report, and I've been wondering about this. Remember, I talked about this yesterday. So U.S. Representative Hill says he hopes that the Fed Chair Powell's dual testimony, Powell has to 2 times a year do testimony, like do congressional testimony with the House and Senate. Twice a year, Powell has to do this. We always cover it. But they're trying to coordinate dates with both chambers to try to get that arranged, according to Bloomberg TV. He has to do it, but usually he does it in February. It's very rare he goes this long without even scheduling the first semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress. And so maybe we'll see that soon. But when is the report today? Listen, I'm not going to say it's in the title of the stream, sir. But let me get a timer up. Maybe that'll help everybody here. I'll get a timer up. I got you guys. Hold on. All right, NFP data is at 8:30 here today, guys. 8:30. I got you guys with the timer, though. Hold on. What time is it right now? I think we have like 45 minutes. Yeah, we got about 42 minutes right now. 42 minutes. I'll put the timer up here. All right, so you see right here, just a weather minute really quick. You see this right here? That's the timer. That's how much time we got left until the NFP reports today. Yeah, I got to mess with anybody that asks. Yeah, the VIX, guys. Let's take a look. Look at the Dow breakdown here. Dow is breaking down. It's at 47,650s here. NASDAQ flushing down under 24,820s ahead of today's payroll report. NASDAQ down to 24,8s. 24As. I remember NBEV. Was that a cannabis beverage company? Is that what that was? It's been a long time, brother. It's been a long time. I used to dabble in those markets. Y'all remember Dry Ships? DRYS? Wild. Wild. Is that stock still around? No, it's not. Figures. Of course it's not. NBEV ain't around either, though. Remember good old TVIX? Yeah, UVXY is going to be surging up a little bit today, too. I mean, the VIX is up. You know, VIX is up to $26 right now. Hit 28s a few days ago, but it's surging back up there on the VIX. Look at the VIX right now. VIX goes up on volatility, so as markets go down. Oil just tested highs of the day here. Look at oil. Oil at 86.5s here, 86.5s. All this data is irrelevant? I don't think so right now. I think right now with oil surging and inflation fears getting pushed, I think the payroll report is very relevant right now, to be honest. And inflation next week will be incredibly relevant as well, I think, based off of everything going on. So again, NFP data, live, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today. Be ready here, guys. Be ready. You remember eggs? What's an egg, brother? What's an egg, man? I don't even know what an egg is. Anytime I think about eggs, I'm just like too expensive right now. You know? Like, eggs are a luxury right now. And I'm a breakfast guy. I love breakfast. You know? No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Anyways. U.S. envoy Witkoff says this week Ukraine and Russia carried out another prisoner exchange with 1,000 individuals. Again, Waller did just say that a coming hot PCE and a solid jobs report would signal the Fed should wait. My question is, what do they consider solid? Here's a question to you all right now. Number one, first off, the dollar index has been one of the big winners of all this stuff going on. Look at the Dixie here. Number two, what do you guys consider a good print today for NFP? Like, what would you consider good payroll numbers today? Again, they're expected right around 50 to 60,000. Right around 50 to 60,000. My guess is it's going to be slightly better. Maybe that means 65. Maybe that means 70. but slightly better than expected is my guess here today. Just a guess. But the dollar index has been spiking up here. 99.60s is the big level that we hit a few days ago on the Dixie. The NASDAQ, Dow, SPY, S&P, whatever you want to look at, they're all down this morning, slightly red. They were green early, but then we saw a big shift. And the big news that we got earlier, again, guys, is that Qatar, let me make sure. Hold on. I think it was Qatar, right? Yeah, Qatar's energy minister warns that the Iran war could soon force Gulf producers to shut supply and potentially drive crude prices towards $150 a barrel. So that is what's going on. Close to 100,000 is a good sign. A solid print would probably be between 70 to 75,000. Yeah, I mean 100,000 is what I would consider good. I think 70 to 75,000 is just slightly better than expected, which the expected 50 or 60 is not necessarily good in a normal market. That's kind of bad. Under 100K is generally bad in a, not bad, but it's not good. It's not like it's a super hot print, but Poly Market has a 64% chance of oil hitting $100 by the end of the month. I think it'll be in line or a bit lower, but the last report will be revised up and unemployment rate will drop slightly. You think the last one's going to get revised higher? I don't know, man. Maybe. It's possible. It's possible. It's going to be negative? No, Brad. I don't think that's... If we got a negative jobs report right now, I don't think markets are going to like it either. It depends on which markets we're talking about. Look at oil spike up towards highs of the day here. Oil spiking up to 86.60. Now, again, 86.60 is the high, I believe, of the last year and a half. The last time oil got anywhere close to this was April of 2024 was the last time oil got anywhere close to this. And oil is getting ready to break that high again. It's at 86.50 right now. Very close to this 86.60 high. This is the high since April of 2024. 2024. As we await the February labor report today, guys. So again, Dow Jones is down. S&P is down. NASDAQ is down. Oil prices jumped. Fresh fears about supply hits expanding in the Middle East. Again, Qatar's energy minister predicted the war on Iran will force Gulf exporters to shut off production, and within days warned it could spur prices. West Texas Intermediate futures up to 86.50 a barrel, about to test highs. NASDAQ is right around these lows here ahead of this jobs report today. A rug pull is coming on oil. Is it? 35 minutes today, guys. 35 minutes. Let's see what we get today. We got 1,200 people here already, guys. It's one of those days that get exciting. Dollar index should rise to 120 minimum. We all know what that means. Is it time to buy oil, chat? Is it time to buy oil? Let me know. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Is it? I think gold is going sub 5,000. Yesterday was Brown Trousers Thursday. Okay. I think at current oil prices, the producers will start hedging. It's time to buy long dates puts on oil. On says, seems like we'll go into the weekend. Risk off. Would be hard to hold larger positions over the weekend. Yeah, because who knows what kind of news we're going to get over the weekend. John, remember the squid coin video of the actual rug pull? Yeah, it's why I never mess with that stuff, dude. Again, I'm not against it. Like, if you want, there's some people that probably know a lot more about meme coins than I do. It's just not my style, brother. I don't like penny stocks. I don't like meme stocks. Some people do it better than I do, and some people are able to make money in those markets where I can't, and that's fine. That's cool. I'm not judging them. I'm just not about to do it. The time to buy oil was in December and January. Time to look elsewhere. I'm not saying you're wrong, brother. I'm not saying you're wrong. Oil's up a lot, but I think it depends on how long you think this conflict lasts. We've talked about this the last few days, but this is the real story of markets right now. Outside of stocks, outside of futures, the story in markets is how long does the Iran conflict last? That's the biggest question mark right now in everything, is how long does this last? The longer it drags on, the more supply shocks, the higher oil is going to go. And maybe the more fear that we see in the NASDAQ and indexes, and indices and equities, maybe more fear drops. Right now we're seeing a negative correlation between oil and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ drops and breaks lows, oil taps highs. Oil got up to 86.70 a couple minutes ago, but it didn't really go anywhere with it. But that's the correlation we're seeing right now in markets. Oil down, NASDAQ down, oil up. S&P down, oil up. And we did a poll the other day. Most people think it's going to last, I think, my guess is going to last 6 to 8 weeks. So 2 months essentially is, maybe this is just what I hope to happen. But, again, maybe it's just what I hope to happen. I don't know. I heard some analysts say that oil would be this year's silver and gold trade. It's beginning to look that way. It might not be wrong. Thomas says it'll last 5 weeks. Yeah, how long do y'all think this conflict lasts? That's the big question of markets right now. Used that correlation yesterday to make a pretty penny shorting the SPY. Betting on markets crashing like 2008. I like the German Shepherd though. 10 to 20% correction. The media will hype it. 3 months. Nick says 3 more weeks. Matt says 3 months. Mantis says 8 weeks. Because the bad part will spread. Melody says 4 weeks. Till October? I don't know, brother. I don't know, man. I hope y'all are wrong. Oil's starting to fall down a little bit. NASDAQ bouncing up. But again, this is ahead of the payroll report. Till next Thursday. If it ends by next Thursday, markets will fly up. Oil will correct down, I think. Yeah, and preceding this conflict really starting here, we did see a couple different things. We did see a couple things. We saw meetings happen between the two. So we saw meetings happen between Iran leaders and U.S. leaders to try to get a deal done on their on nuclear stuff. Now, by the end of last week, these deals kind of fell apart, to be honest. And by Friday, oil prices have surged. Look at the NASDAQ, or look at oil come down here, guys. Look at oil. Oil's dropping. By last Friday, rumors of and rumblings of conflicts were there, and I told you guys there's rumors of potential strikes over the weekend, and then over the weekend we did get those strikes. And oil has been surging up ever since, basically. But oil's coming down. It could be that the EU Commissioner Jorgensen says we are not close to 2022 energy crisis or in continuous dialogue with the U.S. on liquefied natural gas. Let me check other breaking news to see if there's another reason. We do have Germany's Chancellor Merz speaking. He said we are sharing U.S. and Israel goals regarding Iran's nuclear program. EU's Jorgensen says EU does not want to buy Russian energy. Energy Commissioner Jorgensen says, I expect the supply of U.S. liquefied natural gas LNG to increase in the future. And that's the only news I see here. Let me see. Merz says Germany is working with partners to ensure end of fighting. But oil's coming down here ahead of this report, guys. 85.50s right now. 85.50s. So again, the jobs report is expected to show 55 to 60,000 jobs added in the U.S. economy in the month of February, down from 130,000 in January, but slightly above the 50,000 break-even estimate. Private payrolls are expected to go up by 65,000 versus the previous 170-plus thousand print for private payrolls. Unemployment rate is expected to remain unchanged at 4.3%. Wages are seeing rising 0.3% on the month and 3.7% on the year. But remember, this NFP report is going to be used to gauge whether the Fed cuts rates and when they do. Some of the FOMC, including Waller, will use it to decide whether to vote for a rate cut or hold in March. We did have Waller speaking earlier that basically confirmed that outlook, although the Fed is expected to keep rates on hold, barring any drastic spikes to barring any big weakness in payrolls and any big dips in inflation. So recent data like the ADP report was relatively strong. I think the ADP report showed what did the ADP report show? ADP report showed 63,000 on Wednesday versus 50,000 expected here. 63,000 on Wednesday versus 50,000 expected. So we have seen some rebounds in the labor market, guys. Yeah, the Conference Board reported a modest improvement in labor market perceptions. Chicago Fed unemployment model expects the unemployment rate to stay at 4.3%, but we did have Revio Labs reported 16.7 thousand jobs lost in February versus 13.3 lost in January. Another data point that we've seen lately is the Challenger job cuts report. Challenger layoffs fell notably, but again, today's report is expected to show 50 to 60,000. And so we can kind of see this is, let me download this. This is what we're looking like for jobs in terms of recent trends for payrolls here, guys. So this is what we're looking like for jobs versus recent prints. Was October really negative 100,000 though? Let me see. October jobs report. Yeah, 105,000 jobs lost. So this is correct. So yeah, here's the trend that we've seen. So we had a lot of fear in the labor market at the end of last year, and we also entered the shutdown here. So who knows how accurate this number was anyway. But over the last few reports, you know, we have seen some improvements. December was 50,000 job gains. The last one was 130,000 job gains on this NFP report. So here's the trend that we're seeing right now. And yeah, we'll see if the rebound trend continues. The economy is sandwiched. Oil's not dropping, just having a pullback, dude. Okay, wait. This, listen, Carlito, my friend. What's the difference between oil's not dropping? It's just having a pullback. That's like me saying I'm not handsome. I'm just good looking. Guys, listen, you know. It's all love, though. It's all love. I got to mess with you a little bit, Carlito. 50,000 is still a contraction number. Yeah, no, I agree. Did somebody mention sandwiches? I'm not saying oil's going to have a continued downward drop. I'm just saying it's dropping right now. It's pulling back a little bit from the highs here, guys. Gold will go down, I think. Pullback is a drop, technically. Yeah, we'll see. Again, gold will go down. I'm going to ask this question again. We asked it earlier. Buy gold after the drop. Oil at $190 come Monday. Hey, we'll see, brother. We'll see, man. Yeah, let me drink more caffeine. Let's rally today like the last several Fridays. Last Friday is when we had all those worries here. What did we do last Friday? Last Friday was... I'm trying to think. Last Friday was what? February 27th? Was last Friday. Here's the NASDAQ. February 27th. Did we drop? We dropped last Friday. We didn't go up. Oil might have ripped, though, because of, you know, again, Friday we had the rumors of the strikes over the weekend, and then we did strike, so. NFP coming in 55 or lower. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button as we speak. We got 23 minutes left until non-farm payrolls and unemployment come out. 23 minutes. What's your favorite asset to buy ahead of payrolls? I'm not telling you to buy, but what's your favorite asset to buy? Let me know. Let me know. Coming in hot. Does the market want higher or lower print? I think I have to do that question here on the poll ahead of it. Bitcoin exactly at 70,000 right now. The Bitcoin is sitting exactly at 70,000 milestone level. Didn't Oracle announce layoffs this morning as well? I thought I saw a print that said Oracle announced layoffs here. So yeah, the February ADP print showed jobs rising 63,000, beat expectations of 50,000. It's the highest since November 2025. The ISM PMI also reported manufacturing edged up as well. 45% of responders still said managing headcount rather than hiring was the norm at their companies. Services employment has been rising pretty drastically as well. Services PMI rose to 51.8 from 50.3. And respondent comments included, we are expecting activity to increase from this year to 2030, so we are hiring. Growing worry about AI and jobs as well here with all this stuff going on. Bitcoin, gold. So I asked people what their favorite asset to buy. I see gold, Oracle. I see Bitcoin. I see the Q in Bitcoin. Favorite asset is to short any bounce. Hey, good luck, brother. Good luck, man. I see football saying Bitcoin here. VOO, ETF. Isn't that the S&P? I have to remember what VOO is. I like buying vowels. Bananas. Hey, we'll see, my friend. Quick change in the macro environment is a big problem. The spike at the pump outweighs wages by a long shot. No, 100%. And that's the big story of the day here is, are job numbers going to cause more inflation fears right now with these spikes in oil that we've seen? You know, again, these spikes in oil are going to have some effect to, obviously, inflation. Oil hitting the 200 exponential. NASDAQ red on the day. But is today's job report going to make inflation fears worse? Is the real question here. Is today's job report going to make inflation fears worse? Yeah, it's the S&P 500 ETF. That's what I said it was, boo. Do you know how many S&P 500 ETFs there are, friend? Bitcoin, eggs. Not eggs. Hey, thank you, Brazzy Trades. Thank you, my friend. You should be investing in it at your age. I invest in indexes. I use the SPY a lot of the time, though, to be honest. NASDAQ is bullish. It depends on what oil does. It depends on what job numbers show. Honestly, right now, everything is gamble, and there's indecision either way. With your help, we can prosper. Great YouTuber. Hey, thank you, 88. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, sir. I try. Look at the VIX today as well. VIX is elevated on a weaker NASDAQ, although it is dipping down some as oil drops. Right now, the correlation here is oil dips, NASDAQ goes up, and vice versa. Job numbers are kaput. Hey, we'll see, my friend. We'll see. We still have about 20 minutes left before these numbers come on. Really appreciate your time coming in here. Learn a lot from you and make my mornings. Hey, thank you, Scottish. Yeah, I have kind of like an interesting show here. I try to give people like a middle ground between stocks, futures, crypto, and really the main points I cover is economics. And so I try to do all that stuff. You know, like some people focus on stocks, some people focus on crypto, some people focus on economics. I try to give people a little bit of everything here. Yeah, about 19 minutes left. So I appreciate the support. I really do. Hit the subscribe button, guys. We cover this stuff live every weekday right here. And I appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Channel has grown a lot. It honestly has. Like my morning numbers have gone from like 400 or 500 people to like 1,000 almost every single day. Big streams, we get 2 or 3K, 4,000 sometimes. So I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. We're only as good as chat lets us be here. Don't cry, John. I'm not much of a crier, my friend. I'm really not. My wife messes with me because I didn't cry when my son was born. I'm too anxious to cry. My anxiety overpowers my emotions in those moments. I'm not a serial killer, I swear. You know, I'm not one. Unless there's a tiny pizza, I'm definitely crying. All right, guys, VIX at 2530s here. VIX is elevated. NASDAQ's still falling down. The Dow has seen some big swings to the downside lately. Again, it hasn't been over 50,000 in like 2 or 3 weeks now. Last time it was over 50K was right around February, mid-February. And so the Dow is taking a turn here. It's taking a turn. Oh, I mean, I definitely cry sometimes. Everybody cries sometimes. Anybody that's like, I'd never cry. It's, yeah, you do, bro. Get out of here. Anyways, LNG play, oil hitting that 200 exponential. And I talk about these levels a lot because they're relevant. Why does the 200 exponential work so well? So many people pay attention to it. Look at the bounce, guys. Exactly at the 200 EMA. It doesn't mean it's going to hold over it as well, but if it can make a little pit stop here and give you a range to attack on a bounce, I like it. I like it. Not an investment professional, though. Hey, thank you. Thank you, B Channel. I appreciate it, brother. Much love. Hey, thank you, guys. Membership? Did I get a membership, guys? I'm not looking at my chat right now. Y'all got to tell me these things. Hold on, let me find my chat. Oh, we did get a membership. Thank you, Scottish Crypto, my friend. Thank you, brother. Sorry. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the love. A bunch of y'all just got gifted memberships. Now you can use, some would say, majestic emojis here. Look at Beardless John. Beardless John. You have my wife Carol here. You got my favorite dog in the world, Rosie. Great pup. Great pup. There you go. Now you can use them. I appreciate it. Another big question. Let me do a poll here now that we have this. I asked people, will WTI crude break $100 a barrel in the next 30 days? 73% of you guys said yes, it will. I think we got to do a payroll poll now with 15 minutes left here. Top 3 lurkers? Yeah, definitely top 3. Yeah. All right, guys. So the next poll we're going to do here today. Do today's NFP numbers show up higher or lower than the, I'm just going to call it a 55K expectation. And we're going to do higher and lower here. Vote on this poll. I'm curious to see what you guys say about it. 15 minutes left. 15 minutes. Hey, thank you, Carlito. Instant Market News. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I was watching somebody else do it. Like, I don't know how I got to their channel. And on the big reports, they kind of just pulled up, like, I don't know who they pulled up. They pulled up, like, CNBC. It was, like, 2 minutes late. Yeah. I'm sitting there like, I could never do that. No hate on them. I mean, that's how they do it. But All right, guys. Here we go. Oil, 85.60s. 85.60s. Rebounding right at the 200 exponential. NASDAQ, Dow, still down on the day ahead of the jobs numbers. Most of this move is happening. Again, we talked about this earlier. Here's the last 6 NFP prints. I think these are accurate, but yell at me if they're not. But I think these are the last 6 NFP prints. This is what I'm showing. September saw 119,000 jobs. October saw a loss of 105,000 jobs. November saw a gain of 64. December, a gain of 50. January, a gain of 130. So that is what I'm showing. Today, it's expected at about 55,000. 55,000. So higher than 55,000, but lower than 62,000 is my guess. Time will tell, guys. Time will tell. Here we go. Hey, good morning, Lotto. We have about 12 minutes left here, chat. Are those revised numbers? I'll have to go look. 70,000? Looking at our poll that we just did. So we just did this poll. 64% think higher than expected today. 36% think lower. Vote on the poll, guys. Let me know how you guys feel about it. But what do you guys think we show up today? 112,000? I'm showing 70,000. 95,000. Depends on who you're trading with, Lotto. So he said, how many minutes should we be able to take a trade before or after the news? Depends on how many. Hey, what's up, Thinker? What does Bitcoin want? I don't know, man. I think Bitcoin. So JP Trade says 75K. This guy says 112,000. It's time. And again, here's the graph that we're showing here on this report. So here's the graph that I'm showing here. Again, non-farm payrolls trends. Like here's the trends in non-farm payrolls that I'm showing right here. So we have been trending higher since October for payroll data. Have been trending higher, better than, but we did hit pretty big lows in October. We lost 100 and I think 103 or 105,000 jobs in October. Here's the recent trend up to November, pushing to 130,000 last time for February or for January. And I think there's a lot of correlations with everything going on right now. I think there's a lot of fears with everything going on right now with in terms of inflation. But 75, anything under 100,000 is contractionary. 75. Edward says 40,000. I think 40,000 is a pretty bad print, obviously. But yeah, 2 companies could tap the high-grade bond market today, according to Bloomberg. 2 liquefied gas petroleum tankers sailed from Iran on Friday, ship trackers and trade sources report. Israel army is now now launching a new wave of attacks on Tehran, according to Al Hadath. Here we go, guys. 11 minutes. They say Bitcoin is accumulating with a lot less leverage this time. 40,000 sounds about right. 83K. Will you be reporting the news release? I mean, no. I'm just titling my stream it because it's a fun title. I'm sorry. I'm just... Cheers to you, brother. Cheers to you. Of course I am. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We got 9 minutes left. 9 minutes. It has to be substantially better than expected to recover the market, or else we'll continue down. You knew that comment would bother me, sir. I'm just joking. It doesn't really bother me. Not really. You know? No, I'm just joking, Bester. It's all good, bro. I'm just messing with you. I think you said enough positive comments earlier where I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Low job, 40,000. Gold down. Yeah, look at that gold. Here's the Dow. Here's the NASDAQ. 24,874s. Apple down on the day. Nvidia red 181s. Gold flat. Silver flat. AMD down. We had Gap stock earnings. They're gapping down on bad sales numbers that they blamed on the winter storm. How do you see gold reacting if jobs are above 55,000? Well, I think gold can act as a safe haven, and so it's hard to tell what gold's going to do. It might follow the overall market. Depends on what the market wants. John, you seem rested and on your game today. Honestly, I did sleep good. It's one of those mornings where you wake up and you feel good. Sometimes I wake up, I'm like, dude, I don't want to wake up. I want to go back to sleep. Today I woke up and I was up. Again, I'm kind of a morning person anyway, and the rest of my family is not. And so they kind of hate me in that regard. But yeah, it's NFP energy, that's right. How do you see gold reacting? It's Friday, Troll John has arrived. The market wants to dump. How will the market react to the opening bell here with today's NFP data? I think markets right now, oil and the S&P Nasdaq Dow are negatively correlated right now. So as oil rises higher, it signals fear in the Middle East about supply, really, is what the story is today. Strait of Hormuz basically closed. Qatar energy minister said that if this drags on even for a couple more days, they could see oil prices surging, potentially eventually towards $150 a barrel. That's scaring a lot of people. Oil prices are surging, and the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow are all red today ahead of the jobs report is what it is. So that's kind of the story of the day. And with that said, chat, we have about 7 minutes left, 6.5 minutes left to be exact. So, oil market will puke. NFP is non-farm payrolls. So it's non-farm payrolls. So every month we get a non-farm payroll unemployment report. We get non-farm payrolls, unemployment. We get a bunch of other metrics as well, specifically government payrolls, manufacturing payrolls. Today we also get retail sales data, though, chat. So today we also get retail sales data. I will put this breaking news text up. Unemployment at 4.3%. So NFP is expected today at around 55,000 or so, 55,000. My guess today, and it's just a guess, I'm going to go with slightly better than expected. I'm going to go with 65, 70,000, slightly better than expected is my guess. Could be wrong, probably. I mean, who knows? Just a straight up guess here today. But again, jobs growth slowed hard into the year, bounced in January, and today's number decides whether this was a one-off or the start of a reacceleration. And so last year, job market tanked in the last quarter. We saw, I think October was the worst at negative 100,000+ jobs in October. We did see a rebound in November to about 50,000 or so jobs. December, we saw 50,000 jobs. January, we saw 130,000 jobs. And so the big question today is, do we see a continued acceleration in labor? You know, in this market that fears inflation because of surging oil prices and supply worries regarding oil here today, guys, is the big question. That's the question today, I think, is do we see a surge in jobs? Does that reaccelerate, or does that cause potential, fears in inflation as well if we do see more acceleration in labor? Or does the market want that? And do we have less uncertainty, and so the market still likes that type of outcome? That's the real question. 5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes left. We've seen strong manufacturing data lately. We've seen really strong services data in manufacturing and services PMI. I think manufacturing is still contracting under 50, but another source, healthcare, social assistance, and construction are doing the heavy lifting. Private payrolls are still growing. Government and finance jobs are the main drags down, though, in weakness. Most other sectors are flat. So private payrolls in January rose 172,000. It's the strongest since late 2024, showing the private sector still adding jobs. Government payroll was one of the weakest, with federal government down 34,000 and the total government off around 42,000 as deferred resignations finally hit the payrolls. Healthcare added about 82K jobs in January, led by ambulatory services, hospitals, and nursing. And yeah. NASDAQ starting to go a little bit higher here ahead of this. Gold popping back up. Gold's now technically green on the day, just under 5100s ahead of this print here. But it's time here today, guys. It's time. Here we go. Chat, here we go. We have 3 minutes left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. I appreciate the love. Let's get ready for this print. Morgan Stanley laid off 2,500. Great pre-market and key data. This channel will keep growing. Well, hey, thank you, my friend. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep growing. They are holding the rug. All right, chat, let's do this. We got the big jobs report going live today in less than 3 minutes here, chat. Less than 3 minutes. We got about 2,500 people watching. Thanks so much. I'm going to put it in sub-only mode. Because if you haven't subscribed already, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Try it one time. It might feel good. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Hit the notification bell. You'll get an alert every time we go live right here. If this doesn't go up, I'm cooked. Higher is better. I don't think it's that easy. We'll have to wait and see this market reaction, to be honest here. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, huge mug today, John. It is a big mug. It says, I don't need Google. My father knows everything. I got it from my daughter a long time ago. It's a huge freaking mug, though. It's kind of heavy. It's almost like weightlifting, picking that thing up if it's full of coffee. All right, guys. So the NASDAQ is on the right. Oil is at $86 a barrel. It's breaking high. It's broken highs this morning since March or April of 2024. So basically 2-year highs for oil this morning. 2-year highs for oil. We have a minute and a half left here, chat. We have 1.5 minutes left. Give me your last minute predictions. This data is about to drop. So this data is about to drop. Bear with me here. The data is about to come out. We also have retail sales. Unemployment expected at 4.3%. Non-farm payrolls expected at around 55 to 60K. We're going to look at government payrolls, U6 unemployment, retail sales, and more. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed here, chat. 2x speed. Live button next to the play button. Make sure you catch up to the stream here. And let's do this. Here we go. Less than a minute, 45 seconds. Really about 40 seconds left. So this is the big report. About 30 seconds left. 30 seconds. Here we go. All right, guys. 10 seconds here. Chat, 10 seconds. Here we go. 10 seconds. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hit the live button next to the play button. Here we go. Here's the report right now. Okay, so non-farm payrolls, negative 92,000 jobs. Negative 92,000 non-farm payrolls. Negative 92,000 jobs. Unemployment up to 4.4%. 4.4%. Negative 92,000 jobs, led by non-farm payrolls, private payrolls, negative 86K, government payrolls, negative 6,000, manufacturing payrolls, negative 12,000, but negative 92,000 jobs. 92,000 jobs negative for non-farm payrolls. 60,000 expected, way weaker than expected. Unemployment 4.4% versus 4.3% expected here, guys. Way worse than expected here. This is a crazy print, to be honest. Negative 92,000 jobs for non-farm payrolls, 4.4%. Higher unemployment, weaker payrolls. Manufacturing payrolls lost 12,000 jobs. Private payrolls lost 86,000. Government payrolls lost 6,000 jobs. Retail sales actually showed up stronger than expected for January. The U6 unemployment rate was actually lower than previously, But man, really weak numbers. Negative 92,000 jobs lost for the month of February here, guys. Very, very weak print here. Negative 92,000 jobs. The previous was 126. They revised the last one down as well from 130 to 126,000. Noticeable weakness in labor data. Let me get this on the screen and I will break down, a little bit more about each of these sectors here, guys. But negative 92,000 jobs. Kind of a crazy print here. Certainly not good. Certainly not good. And that's a scary number. Scary number. Here's the data right here on the screen. Negative 92,000 jobs here versus 59,000 expected. Unemployment, again, 4.4%. 4.4%. Let me fix this. And then I'll put the unemployment number up here. 4.4%. Kind of a crazy number here, to be honest here, chat. Let's delve a little bit deeper into this on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. In terms of the sectors here. But yeah, so again, we can look at this report right here. Total non-farm payroll edged down by 92,000 in February, and the unemployment rate changed a little at 4.4%. Both unemployment rate in terms of household survey at 4.4%, and the number of unemployed people at 7.6 million changed little. Among the major worker groups, unemployment rates for adult men at 4%, adult women at 4.1%, teenagers 14.9%, the people who are white 3.7%, black 7.7%, Asian 4.8%, Hispanic 5.2%. Healthcare gained 82,000 jobs. Social assistance gained 42,000 jobs. Construction gained 33,000 jobs. The sector that lost the most jobs were government employment, declined by about 42,000, with federal down 34,000, and financial activities shed roughly 22,000 jobs here. So this is a scary print. Oil has surged towards highs, and the NASDAQ dumped here on this report. Again, it's a scary print here. Dude, this is a scary print. Again, unemployment, 4.4%. Silver, gold, I'm sure flying up right now, I'm guessing, here on this week print. Yeah, silver, gold up a big amount. Silver here, up a big amount here. NASDAQ down, S&P down. But again, negative 92,000 jobs. Gold to the moon. Yeah, maybe. I don't think gold's looking bad right now on this report, but man, what a weak report here, chat. Kind of a crazy weak report, in all honesty. Kind of a crazy weak report. Let's see if it continues, but that's kind of a scary report here, no? Yikes, dude. Scary report. We are cooked. Wild report there. Yeah, again, just to put this into perspective, we are still summarizing this. The total change was revised down by 65,000 in non-farm payrolls for December. So here's another breaking print here. I'm going to put this up in the chat. But read this here, guys. Read this. It says, let me show you guys this on this report. This is probably another scary thing. The change in total non-farm payroll employment for December revised down by 65,000 for December, from plus 48,000 to negative 17,000 jobs for December here, guys. For December. So revisions down here. In all honesty, revisions down here for December as well, to be honest here. Again, unemployment 4.4%. December revised down to negative what now? Negative 17K for December. So we have that up on screen here. Chat, kind of a scary number here. This is a scary report. But look at this. Total change in non-farm payrolls December revised down by 65,000. From almost 50,000 jobs gained to negative 17,000 in the labor market. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see how Bitcoin is reacting to this. Bitcoin's kind of unchanged from this report. And I think this report means maybe earlier easing. Let's take a look at yields here. So Bitcoin's still at 70.23 thousand here. Treasury yields, as I look at this, are 4.121 thousand right now. Look, 4.121 thousand. So I'm sure yields are dumping on this report. Yeah, yields are down. Lower interest rate sentiment, earlier cuts maybe. And so I guess with this report out, my big question here is, do you guys think we'll get earlier cuts this year is number one? Do you guys think we'll get earlier cuts, number one? Number two, what do you fear more right now? Inflation or a recession? Let me know in chat. What do you fear more right now? Inflation or recession? Yields are falling down to 4.11%, 4.12% or so. No, inflation is still hot. I worry oil prices will hurt rate cuts. Inflation, recession, stagflation fears is what I'm showing. Both earlier cuts. Yeah, I still don't think we're going to cut rates before the first half of this year is over. I think the right answer is both, to be honest. I think the right answer is both. We should fear both right now. And is this preceding a recession? Do we hit a recession in the next 2 years? Stagflation is an economic state in which we have high inflation in the inflation part of stagflation and a stagnant labor market. And I think a lot of people would say the fears regarding both are here. Well, the CME tool is going to take a little while to we're definitely not in a recession now. Not that I think here. The jobs market doesn't look good, but I don't think we're there yet. Dude, something is wrong with your mic. You scream like crazy. Some people say I'm too quiet. You know? I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. These are only government jobs. Yeah, just to put this in perspective, the sectors that gain the most: healthcare, social assistance, construction, professional, and business services, all gained pretty good numbers. Manufacturing, retail, trade, leisure, and hospitality were mostly flat on this report. Government employment declined, about 42,000 down. Federal employment down 34,000. And financial services shed roughly 22,000 jobs on this report. These are exciting times. We live in a world of Karens. We are cooked. Why is the NASDAQ not up? Because the NASDAQ, there's a lot of fears going on right now anyway. NASDAQ is net down, but I don't think it knows where to go. It's honestly rejecting right here at 24,780s here. So, but yeah, they revised December's jobs from about 48,000 down to negative 17,000. So again, negative 92,000 non-farm payrolls, unemployment upticked, and December jobs data was revised down. All of that's bad. All of that's bad. And this heads into next week where we have inflation data and more coming out. So it's a freaking scary report in my opinion for the labor market. Numbers are cooked. Stagflation, people buy less. Fed is in a pickle. I agree. Look, from somebody that is a big fan of the Sandlot movie, the Fed is in a pickle right now. Possibly the biggest pickle we've ever seen. No, okay, that's an exaggeration. I'm just quoting the Sandlot. But they are in a pickle right now in terms of stagflation. Is the market... At a certain point, the labor market has to be the priority, though. And I've explained this before. The Fed has to maintain balance in their dual mandate. If labor gets too weak, they bring interest rates down. If inflation gets too hot, they raise interest rates up. They raise rates, and they can do more desperate things like money printing with quantitative easing, or they can reduce their balance sheet on the other end of that if inflation is too hot, and you know, all that stuff's going on. But QE causes inflation fast. QT causes potential economic pullbacks quicker. And so right now the fear is both. We had a hot PPI print, and sometimes eventually we'll see the same prices getting passed on to consumers in that context as well from PPI. And so PPI was high last time. It was much higher than expected. For core PPI, I believe, was the big one that was high. Oil prices are rising right now. Oil prices broke 2-year highs earlier this morning. So earlier this morning, because of all the stuff and supply fears in Iran and the Middle East, oil prices broke their highest level for WTI crude in 2 years since April of 2024. Almost 2 years. And so inflation's definitely a fear right now. And I think this report showed that the labor market should also be a fear as well. You know, December getting revised down by a big margin now, net down in December to negative 17K. We'll see if January's big 130K print eventually gets revised down. Unemployment upticked. almost negative 100,000 jobs in the NFP report. So it's almost as scary as tariffs. That means only 120,000 jobs were created in all of January or all of 2025. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a scary market right now, and the NASDAQ continues to fall here. So the NASDAQ does continue to dip. We're at 24,740s, 24,740s. And again, guys, if you want to help support your boy here, check out Apex. Apex has a 85% off sale right now. They recently reduced their activation fees. They recently reduced their end-of-day drawdown option. So if you check out Apex funding right now, most day traders lose. If you fund your own account thousands of dollars, you're probably going to lose here. You're probably going to lose. Apex just had some really nice updates. End-of-day drawdown options, no payout denials, no MAE rule, no 5-to-1 reward rule, built-in scaling and 50% consistency once you're funded. Really nice rules here, to be honest. You can use my promo code BT on Apex. Great way to help support the channel. I think it lasts until next week, but you get 85% off on the end-of-day drawdown option. Or you can pick a trailing drawdown option. I think it's even more. It's like 90% off and cheaper. And these are very cheap accounts if you want to try to get funded with a prop firm and futures. Very cheap accounts. Most of them, the base one is under 30 bucks. Great way to learn. I'll put this link up if you want to help support the channel. Again, it's a great way to help support us. You can also use my promo code BT on Lucid as well. So you can use my promo code on Apex. 85 to 90% off. I'll put this link up. They're a sponsor of mine, or an affiliate of mine, I should say. I'm biased. With all this data out here, guys, I don't know what we're going to get in markets. Understand all this stuff on screen. I am not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything, but here's the link to that as well. But yeah, this was a scary report. A scary report. You can also check all of it in the description, depending on which firm you like and all that good stuff. You can check it out in the description here. I appreciate the love. This is my first plug of the day. We've been streaming for hours. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. If you are afraid of inflation, you are being misled. I mean, I'm afraid of inflation. I don't necessarily think I'm being misled. I think inflation should be at least somewhat of a priority. I don't want to see prices rise. I think since 2020, we've seen a lot of price increases. In 2020, craziness happened. By 2022, inflation was at 9.1%, and prices don't slow down, or prices don't go down, they just slow down unless we enter deep recessions. And so we're stuck with those prices still. The reason a lot of people think we have crazy inflation right now is because of those prices back then. Inflation's only, 2.5, 3% right now? Some people would argue it's really a little bit higher. But again, a lot of people, we're still stuck with that. We're still stuck with that. And so, yeah, I fear inflation, of course. But I think at a certain point, the labor market has to become the priority, because if we don't stimulate the labor market when it shows drastic weak signs, then eventually we go into a recession, and then the Fed has to super ease and print to get us out of it. And that's going to cause inflation in a much more net negative way than it would have if we would have just been proactive more so regarding the labor market. And so that's kind of my take on it. But I also think inflation is a problem too, and we have to prioritize both. And it's a lot easier said than done. Yeah, again, I always show the CPI inflation graphs just so people can understand this here with today's negative payroll print. I could show this. Retail sales did show up a little bit stronger than expected, but I don't think that overpowers the really bad payroll print we got. And look at the NASDAQ still dumping here. I also just got news showing up on my charts here regarding the UK MTO reporting that a tugboat was hit by an unknown projectile within the Strait of Hormuz. And so a tugboat getting hit wasn't really a tugboat, but look, I see this news coming out. Here's the news in chat right here. UK MTO reporting that a tugboat was hit by an unknown projectile in the Strait of Hormuz. Oil just spiked up to $87 a barrel. Hit the high. This is the highest level again since since April of 2024. Jobs crashing down here, chat. Crashing down. Yeah, the Fed tends to overshoot to the downside and the upside because of waiting for lagging data. Yeah, and they're supposed to be proactive, but again, it's a lot easier said than done. People got mad at the Fed. Like, we had so much inflation by 2022 because of stimulus checks, super low interest rate environment, quantitative easing, supply chain problems. And all of that made inflation spike to 10%. And 10% is crazy. If you look at like a calculator here, like just to show you guys the math behind inflation, if inflation stays at 9%, we'll call it 9%. Here, let me do this a little bit better. It would be, what would it be? It would be 50. Say you got $500,000 and inflation stays at 9%. All right, so inflation stays at 9%. That $50,000 within 5 years, or that $500,000. Oh, I mistimed it. I have to do this again. I forgot how many times I clicked. 0.91 would be the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within 5 years, your 500K is going to turn into about $312,000 in 5 years with 9% consistent inflation. Now, it wasn't consistent, of course, but look at the NASDAQ dump. Look at the NASDAQ dump, 24,700s. Oil prices rising. And again, this is mostly probably on news that the UK MTO reports that a tugboat was hit by an unknown projectile within the Strait of Hormuz. OPEC member Kuwait discussing further cuts to output and refinery capacity. So Kuwait cuts oil production at some fields as storage fills up as well. US dollar index is flying higher on this as well. NASDAQ is breaking lows right now as we speak here, heading into the opening bell today. Yeah, everything's dumping basically here. Bitcoin under 70,000 again. Can it reclaim and hold that psychological level? And we can see some panic really set in. Yeah, again, this is a scary day here. I think we have inflation fears, and this is heading into next week's CPI inflation report, to be honest. Next week, we do have CPI inflation coming out. That's a scary print, Jobs are down, revised down in December from a positive number to negative 17,000. I think it was 48K in December. It's now revised down to negative 17,000. Payroll showed up almost a negative 100,000 jobs for February. Versus 60,000 positive job gains expected. And, yeah, just a scary print here. Scary print. If we get high inflation next week and this conflict drags on, things can get rough. You know. CPI inflation report next week drops at, and we're going to trade a little bit, guys, so stick around. We are going to trade the opening bell, but CPI inflation drops next week on Wednesday. Wednesday, we get CPI inflation. Thursday, we get jobless claims. Friday, we get GDP, PCE, JOLTS, Michigan consumer sentiment, and durable goods orders. So, all right, so we do have the Fed's daily speaking right now, and they said no 1 month of data is decisional. Both of goals are risks now. Again, Fed's daily says no 1 month is decisional here. As the NASDAQ crumbles and oil spikes. Bullish or bearish at the opening bell? I don't know. We're going to day trade live. We're going to swing trade maybe, buy some stocks, buy some stuff. I don't know which ones we're going to buy though. Let me know what you guys think is worth buying here. You can see Nvidia dipping down as we speak here. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia down to 180s here. Guys, 180s. And again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover this data as soon as it comes out. Faster than mostly everybody else, really. So subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. GDP next week is going to trigger the correction. Yeah, GDP next week is first revision Q4 GDP. So we got the initial estimate. Now it's the first revision data for GDP next week. PCE data might have a little bit more influence, though, because Q4 GDP... Last time it showed up at 1.4% though for Q4, so it did show up at a negative number. If it keeps getting revised downward towards 0, then the recession fears are going to uptick. So, yeah, looking at the bond yields prices, and if we look at Fed Watch Tool right now after this really weak payroll print, it's up a little bit. It's up to 0.4% right now, 4.7%, 4.7%, almost 5% chance we cut rates in March. I think the Fed meeting is on the 18th of this month, 19th of this month. And so oil just broke highs again. Look at oil here on the left. Oil just spiked over highs right now as well. Unemployment went up to 4.4% from 4.3% expected. I think it showed up at 4.3% last time, if I remember correctly. No. So unemployment basically stayed flat month to month. It was 4.4% last time, but it was 0.1% higher than expected. But yeah, we should have been negative 92,000 jobs. Oil still breaking highs. Nvidia, NASDAQ, Dow, all flushing down here today. Look at oil spike. Interesting. Inflation is almost as bad as tariffs. I don't know if it's super hot unemployment. It's just 0.1% higher than expected and the same as last time. I would say the payroll numbers showed more weakness. Yeah, I've been on Top Step TV before. Stocks in the UK. It's a scary market today, guys. Heading into the opening bell. It's a scary market. We're cooked until midterms. Again, stick around. We are gonna day trade live. I'll trade stocks as well. I know it's a kind of risky thing, but maybe I can trade. Let's see where we're at. We're cooked until midterms. UK 10-year bond yield hit 15-week high. I just hit my daily loss limit buying a move I knew was bearish. Top 3 most dense. Hey, I can't say I've never done it, Blaze. I can't say I've never done it. Commodities are killing it. PayPal is gold. It's not gold today, it's down. I think today is a day you just chill or go big, go home kind of situation. John, this terrible number for NFP today, plus the last 1.4% bad GDP numbers, clearly shows the current administration is doing a bad job. I'm not going to get political here. Again, I'm very neutral. I'm very neutral. Most likely going to continue to down. Hey, John, are content creators considered employed or unemployed? I mean, I run my own business. I pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. You know, people can act like I don't have a job. Really, I have my own business. So, cheers to you guys. I know which way you stand. I don't really stand on either side of it, to be honest. We're in unprecedented times, fellas. Don't let them bait you into politics. I'm pretty neutral. I dislike the whole realm of politics. Once you get to the top, it's all the same people anyway. On both sides. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They get talked into being really aggressive with their one side and like, I'm just not about that, guys. You know, top 3 most neutral political, you know, people in the world right now. Don't copy me. None of us have jobs. Y'all just leave me alone and let me be neutral here. That's all I'm saying. The VIX probably spiking up. Oil just broke highs of the last 2 years again. 87.60s. 87.60s a barrel for WTI West Texas Intermediate crude right now on fears about the labor market. Daly says a little optimistic that AI will help drive productivity, but need to see it first. He said two-sided risks. Oil prices shock is a real thing. Consumers will feel that. Labor market gives me some concern, but strikes, snow, population benchmarking make report harder to interpret. Asked if oil prices rise would stay Fed's hand on cuts. Says it depends on how. Daly says if break even is 30,000, we are below that, but it's only a couple months of data. Wages need to be inflation plus productivity growth, which is higher. This wage growth is not a sign of frothiness. Worried labor market is weaker than we have seen. The president just quoted on Truth. He said, after surrender, Iran can select a great and acceptable leader, end quote, U.S. President Donald Trump. He said there will be, and again, he just tweeted again. He said there will be no deal with Iran. Look at oil spike. He said, look at Nvidia. We can put the NASDAQ up here. NASDAQ cracking lows. Again, this is what he said. This is the news that's driving markets down. He said there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender after that and the selection of a great and acceptable leader. We and many other wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. End quote, U.S. President Donald Trump. The no deal aspect of it, the words about no deal is making oil spike and NASDAQ fall this morning here. So this is the breaking news. And I think the really bad aspect of this payroll report is not just the NFP numbers here, guys, but it's also this section right here where it says December was revised down by 65,000 jobs as well. Bitcoin. An interesting thing today, though, guys, is yields have almost completely rebounded back up here. So yields dumped originally on this report and then rebounded right back up. So Fed's daily says have not seen evidence the economy is running hot. There is a real issue if we should act immediately on the labor market or wait. Another policy alternative is to hold rates steady and pause. Remember, earlier in the day, Qatar says that the Iran war could bring down the economies of the world and warns oil prices may see $150 a barrel within days as Gulf countries prepare to shut down production. Qatar predicts that all Gulf energy exporters will shut down production within days, they say. Even if the war ended immediately, it would take Qatar weeks to months to return back to normal production. Qatar predicts that natty gas prices will go up 400%. They say global GDP will be hit if the war continues, even for just a few weeks. And they say the war will delay all expansion plans for the country's energy industry. Oil is at its highest prices since April of 2024 right now. April of 2024. And this is after the president said there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. This news just came out. Bro, can you read slowly? I can try. Top 3 readers in the world right now, though. Here's a question. Let's do another poll here in the chat. Again, let's do another poll. This poll got 54% thinking higher than expected, 46% thinking lower than expected. Let's do another poll. Does the market rebound after today's weak jobs print? Yes or no? Does the market rebound? Yes, the Strait of Hormuz, very important. And prior to the president speaking, we did get news that Kuwait has started cutting production at some oil fields after running out of room to store its bottled up crude, according to Wall Street Journal, citing sources. We also had UK MTO reporting that a tugboat was hit within the Strait of Hormuz. All of this is making people fearful, although oil is still dropping down here today, guys. And again, we're heading into the opening bell in about 30 minutes here, 30 minutes. How many coffees have you had today? I've only had one, but it's in this Giants mug here right now. So maybe I gave myself a little bit too much coffee. But hey, we might bounce leading into the open and then dump is my prediction. Looking at our poll numbers initially, 55% say no to the market does not rebound. 45% say yes, it does. That's 3-1. I filled it up this morning, too. I filled that mug up this morning. One coffee and 2 lines? Dude, get out of here, bro. I get up every day at like 5 a.m., dude. You know I'm not doing some dumb stuff like that, brother. In fact, I don't even know what that is. You know? Keep up your energy. Are you going to exercise after this opening session? I usually train jiu-jitsu after I stream, but I don't think I'm going today. It's a little bit slower on Fridays generally. I trained like 3 or 4 times this week already, so I'm probably not going to train anymore this week. I'll start again next week. Oil's still sitting really close to these highs here. Let's get ready to start trading though. So again, we're going to get ready to start trading now. Let's do this. I'm 5 a.m. club here. Leave me alone. He's just excited. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. You have a great voice for a podcast. I got kind of a raspy voice. Used car prices just showed up. The good thing, like my ADHD makes me be able to hyper focus on some things. And so that's all this is. Used car prices at 4%. Top 3 most hyper focused person ever right now. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. 0.8% month over month for February used car prices. Maybe it's the coffee, actually. Remember when you used to do push-ups? I'm definitely biased for sure. And biased. Daly's still speaking right now, though, chat. So Daly says... Actually, I think he's done. Iran says they targeted another base of Kurdish groups in Iraq, according to TV. We need this energy. Hey, thank you, Big Slum. Yeah, the president. Again, there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender here. That's the big talking point right now, heading into the opening bell here, though. Let's see what happens. But scary market. Scary market. The Fed meeting is going to be on, Don says, what is the next move? Tie? In 2 weeks, brother. In 2 weeks. My wife yells at me because I'm up at 4 a.m. every day. Of course, you're biased. You never trashed the previous president, but you're constantly getting down on Trump. To be fair, the previous one was a little bit too easy. You know, I'm not really, I agree with some of the stuff Trump does. Y'all are going to pull me into a political conversation. And the reality of it is, I agree with some of the stuff he does. And I certainly disagree with some stuff he does as well. I agree with caps on credit cards. I think that's good. I agree with stop letting big banks and commercial entities buy up residential, you know, like big corporations buy up residential properties, inflating everything. I agree with that. I disagree with a lot of stuff he does too, which is most people. This is most people. Most people are somewhere in the middle. Most people are moderates, to be honest. They just kind of play you against each other a lot, and so it gets to a point where like everything he says you either agree or disagree with, and that's just not realistic. Oil just tapped the highs. It didn't quite break it. It's at 87.70s. Why are y'all bullying John? Leave me alone, guys. I can handle it. I can handle it. But again, Trump saying there'll be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. Whew. All right, we're gonna trade. We're gonna trade. Let's be serious. I'm playing a spike in MOS due to demand and volatility. Shorting the EMA is meta. Gold. NASDAQ is below Monday's opening. OPEX closing will cause a rally. Did you make this beat? No, I didn't. Hey, what's up, Fibby? John, don't let... You're a good human? I appreciate it. Top 3 best human ever right here, guys. Thanks so much. Buy gold? Again, after these job report numbers, what do you guys want to buy right now? What do you guys want to buy? What's your favorite asset right now? I give it 10 more days. Oil? Netflix? Honestly, I'm loving my Netflix position here. I got really lucky, though, to be honest. I bought Netflix a couple weeks ago, and I bought it because I thought they would get the deal done with Warner Bros. I thought they would get the Warner Bros. Deal done eventually, and I like Netflix long term. And it was down a lot. And so I was like, hey, let me buy Netflix. It's cheap right now. And then they walked away from the Warner Bros. Deal, and that made the stock go up more than anything else. And so I got really lucky. I'd love to celebrate this Netflix win. What I will celebrate is Amazon. I bought Amazon, although it is down on the day, but I bought Amazon at 190s. It's at 213s. But yeah, a lot of stuff's down right now, still dragging here. Oil's still close to highs. So, gold. A lot of people saying gold. Bitcoin and Solana. And again, if you want to help support your boy here, check out Apex. Most day traders lose. You try to fund your own account, thousands of dollars trying to look cool in markets. Again, I'm going to be honest, you're probably going to lose. Let's just be real here for a second. You're probably going to lose day trading. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow, most day traders are going to lose. And so would you fund your own account 10 grand? Of course not. You're probably just going to lose it. We're being honest here. Why even risk that? Instead, try a funded account program. Most day traders lose money, and so they give you a demo. They test your skill with it. Apex is some of the cheapest accounts in the game, and you can use my promo code BT to help support the channel. BT, beginner trading, BT. Great way to help. I'll put the link up one more time. You can help support the channel. You can also check Lucid out with promo code BT as well. You can check Lucid Trading out. Lucid Trading has a direct to funding option. The base one's like $250, $260 or something like that. Very cheap as well. Very cheap as well. So here's the link. Help support your friend here. Check out Apex. Here's the link right there. I think it's 85 to 90% off on Apex. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. There's the link in chat right now. I'll put this number up here as well. But man, big revisions in labor heading into the opening bell. We're going to get ready to trade. But big revisions here, to be honest. Hey, what's up, Yair? If you want to check out Lucid, I'll put the Lucid link up right here as well. Here's the Lucid link. 50% off evals right now on Lucid Trading. You can use promo code BT. BT. Here's Lucid's right here. Direct to funding option. Direct to funding option. So you can see both of those in chat right now. Look at the NASDAQ crack lows again here. Oil spiking up to $88+ a barrel for West Texas Intermediate crude. $88 a barrel here on this left side of the chart. Look at this. What's up, Yair? Here we go. Opening bell's coming soon. 20 minutes. We had news that Iran carried out drone attacks against Kurdish armed opposition groups. But the big news, again, the president saying no deal except unconditional surrender. I'm going to trade. I'm just kind of... I'm sitting tight. I'll probably wait for the opening bell. But we'll probably trade some. Just give me a second. We'll probably trade stocks, crypto, futures. Futures have no PDT rule as well, so it gets you around the PDT rule. RTX, I trade crypto a little bit. I think crypto in other markets can kind of move better with technical analysis than some of the more saturated. I'm not saying crypto's not saturated, but in terms of reacting to price action, it can be useful. So we have 2 Yairs. Is there 2 Yairs in chat right now? I don't think anyone is trusting this market until they figure out the Strait of Hormuz. All right, NASDAQ bouncing up a little bit here, though. Oil pushing down. Let me see the breaking news right now as we speak. Hassett says, so yeah, Hassett's speaking right now, apparently. He was supposed to speak at 9:30. I think he started speaking a little bit earlier, but Hassett's speaking right now. He said we should look at the average of job numbers. Says we're seeing a productivity boom. Says we should look at the average of job numbers. The 3-month average of job gains, just put this into perspective, is 6,000. Again, I'm going to repeat that. The average number for the last few months, 3 months specific, the 3-month average in jobs is 6,000 jobs gained on the month. Look at this. 3-month average is 6,000. That ain't good. That ain't good. Yeah, I mean, after they revised December's jobs down, they revised them down to negative 17,000 jobs. I think that's what's freaking everybody out. They revised December's down a big amount. And so that makes the last 3 months pretty bad. Pretty bad. Again, Hassett on CNBC TV says we should look at the average of job numbers, and they are seeing a productivity boom via CNBC. Oil just dipped, though. It went up to 88.20s a barrel for WTI crude. It's now back down to 87.16s. The 3-month average is 6,000 with unrevised, overinflated January number. Yeah, and I think the big question right now is, are they going to revise January's numbers down? They revised December's down today. Are they now going to revise January's numbers down in the next month in April? I think that's a big question. I think that's a reasonable question here. Like, are they going to revise the numbers we got last month down from January? January was 130,000 jobs. If they revise those down, we're seeing some obvious weakness signs, I think. You know? So, I mean, what does this job report mean for gold? You can look at gold now. Originally, it made it go up. Uncertainty makes gold pop. And so originally it went up. It kind of retraced back down, though. And some of this has to do with yields as well. How many shares of strategy is too many? I don't know, guys. How many shares of Michael Saylor's strategy? I want to say micro strategy, but it's just strategy now. How many shares is too many? Caesar says the only thing I'm trading is oil until the war is over. One. Papa says one. One share. Strategy is too many. .001, Ken says. I like strategy. Honestly, strategy has some pretty good ETFs. They're not risk-free. Some high-income ETFs. They're not risk-free, but, you know. All right, so we're starting to see some stabilization in the NASDAQ price, and maybe oil is starting to come back down some here, but it's still pretty close to the highs. So we're seeing some sideways action in the NASDAQ heading into the opening bell. We'll see. We'll see, guys. Buy Bitcoin instead. This all has to get priced in at some point. Yeah, we're getting ready to trade some at the open, guys. We got 14 minutes left until the opening bell. So stick around. We are going to trade. What were the jobs? The job numbers are in big yellow banner at the bottom of the screen. They were negative 92,000 jobs for NFP data for February. Way weaker than the gain of 60,000 expected. Negative 92,000 versus a potential or an expected gain of 60,000. That's number one. Number two was that unemployment stayed the same month to month, but was 0.1 higher than the 4.3% expected number for unemployment. Not just that, there's more. The jobs data for December was revised down by a pretty big margin. I think 65 to 70,000 revised down. It went down from a gain of 48,000 in December that was originally posted. It's now been revised down to negative 17,000. So December data now negative for jobs. Now negative. And yeah. I like Robinhood. And here we go. We're heading into the opening bell in 13 minutes today, guys. 13 minutes. Scary numbers. Scary numbers. Is the boom in the room with us? Gaming with Boromir. Y'all a bunch of haters. I'm guessing you mean Bitcoin. Look at that Bitcoin here, guys. Bitcoin has not reacted well to this. 68 nines now. 68 nines. Such an easy short. Nasdaq starting to test lows again. Oil starting to push towards the highs again here, guys, ahead of the opening bell. I'm going to wait until the opening bell to trade, so stick around. We are going to trade the open. But with all this big drop and oil surging, I have to wait a little while before I trade here, just in terms of risk management. Russia is now providing Iran with real-time intelligence on the locations of U.S. military, including warships and aircrafts in the Middle East, according to the Washington Post. Russia calls for an end to the war, which it says is a, quote, end quote, unprovoked act of armed aggression, end quote. Hassett says we're expecting 4% growth in GDP this year. On Iran, he said some disruptions now, but expect energy stabilization with Venezuelan. Qatar says the security threat is high, residents are to stay home. And again, Hassett says we should look at the average of job numbers. But considering the revisions today, that 3-month average for job numbers is 6,000 jobs gained on the month to month average. 6,000. Very low, very low. And if January's numbers get revised down, it's going to be an average of it's going to be a negative number for an average, 3-month average. So better stock up on toilet paper. Yeah, I don't think Russia can say much right now. You know, considering everything going on. You know, it seems a little hypocritical, of course. Not going to go too deep into it. But I think most people, regardless of which side you're on, are just kind of like, okay, Russia. You know, like, all right. You know, with the stuff y'all are doing right now, y'all can't say anything. But again, I'm not even saying this whole thing is justified. I'm just covering market news. But 8:30 is already out. You must be in Central Time, Davey. The report's already out. We showed negative 92,000 NFP, unemployment 4.4%. December's data was revised down to negative 17,000 in the jobs report. Most of the losses were in government jobs. The biggest gains, I believe, were in healthcare and construction. Yeah, Qatar, again, telling people to stay home is the report we got. Hassett says military is putting together a plan so we can get ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Prediction markets have their use, he says. Again, we see Iran firing missiles at the U.S. base in Kuwait, according to Iranian state TV. White House economic advisor Hassett also said on Iran and oil that no discussion on SPR release anytime soon, according to CNBC. And I'm curious to see the odds here. Like, look. Yields originally went down, which you would expect here, but they have since bounced all the way back up if we take a look at yields right now. So here's yields, 4.169%, 4.169%. So yields have spiked back up here, and they're actually net red, or I'm sorry, they're net green from the jobs report. So yields are back higher here. Nasdaq's starting to stabilize, and oil starting to head back up towards highs as well, which is interesting. I think one of the things here is that oil prices being higher still makes people fear inflation. Yeah, makes oil prices being higher still makes inflation a risk, and still see a lot of people maintain hawkish sentiment. But yeah, jobs are out. Scary market. You guys ready to day trade? We have 8 minutes left until the opening bell. 8 minutes. I can't see the jobs market going up with AI now. All the corporations are cutting entry-level jobs by the thousands due to AI. I mean, I agree. I think the net effect short-term on AI and jobs is going to be losses. And I think maybe that's what we're seeing right now. But a lot of these jobs losses were in government jobs, so maybe that's not the dynamic we're seeing right now. But I obviously think AI is going to replace jobs to a certain extent short term. Maybe we'll get net long-term gains. But yeah, I think we have both inflation fears, job fears, AI fears, and more right now. So it's an interesting market the last couple months, to be honest. All right, so look, I have this range on the NASDAQ if you look at this. So this is the range I have on the NQ. We could wait for the range. I'm going to be looking for an opening range breakout again today, though. So I am going to be looking for an orb here today. Is the music too loud, chat? Yes or no? Let me know. I can turn the music down. Is the music too loud? Yeah, my last name is London. And so Pawn's joke here, just so you guys understand it, is that every session's the London session here with John. Because my last name is literally L-O-N-D-O-N, like the city. It's perfect. Music is fine. Nah. Where's the duck song? There's music? I think when I speak, it goes down, and I'm always speaking. So, not too loud for my setup. All over the place. I'm trading. I'm not trading. I'm trading again. I think some days are like that in markets. I'm going to trade. I'm just going to trade the opening bell here. So, what's up, Bruce? John London is a spy-like name. No. It's just British, English, you know. Hopefully people over there across the pond, you know, they hear my last name, they're like, you know, they're like, respect. Hopefully. Music could go up. Good luck, buddy. Stick to your rules and try not to overtrade. Our London is greater than their London. My son's name is Jack, to be honest. So my son's name is Jack London. Should I show up to the stream in a red coat one day? You know, in a funny hat? I know who Jack London is, of course. Can you explain why you chose this range for the orb? This isn't necessarily the range. Look at oil, guys. Oil's getting a little bit higher here, about to tap highs again if it continues up. Oil at 88, $20 a barrel right now. Yeah, I think AI will get to a point with robotics that it's going to cause gains in jobs, but that might be a longer way out than the loss of jobs effect of it short term, is what I think. Do you guys agree? That's my take on it. Well, yields initially went down, but I think the deeper tensions with Iran is a big story right now, to be honest. I'm not looking at this range. I'm watching, just to show you guys why I'm looking at the opening range breakout system here. If I look up the QQQ for this just because I have to look at something that maps pre-market in the open or the orb. But like, here's an example. Here's the QQQ. Let me pull this chart up. Let me find my script. And I'll send you the script. Again, if you use my Take Profit, Lucid, or Apex code more than 10 times, I'll send you the script. I'll share it with you. I'll share it with your email, and you can use it on TradingView anytime you want. But if I look at the orb, I prefer the 10-minute orb. I usually have to set this to 10 minutes is what I prefer. But everybody's a little different. Here's a 1-minute chart. This one didn't really follow through, though. It kind of faked out. But I think yesterday's first half of the day was pretty choppy altogether. I don't think the 15-minute one worked either. But here's the 10-minute orb. But let me put a 5-minute chart up. I don't know. I mean, we actually got a pretty big rebound up to 613. So I would say this worked. It just didn't trigger here. Look, here's another orb. Look at that. Here's the opening range. Look at the break above it. That one looks like it worked. Here's a breakdown orb. 10-minute orb. That one worked. I would say this one worked really well as well. I don't know why it didn't trigger, but look, it's moving up as well. This one kind of flat, but still moved up. Look at this. Look at this really nice one. Really broke down. This one worked too. Look at the opening range and then the rip over it. So I like the 10-minute orb, to be honest. This one worked perfect. Perfect. This one worked as well. So I like the 10-minute orb, but everybody's different. Some people like the 15-minute orb. Fed increasing their balance sheet ahead of this makes me think they were fully aware of what was about to come. Oh yeah, they probably knew. Oil will go way higher. They say they won't release the reserves anytime soon. Well, it depends on which oil we're talking about. I see somebody saying oil over 91 now. You're probably talking about Brent. Brent crude is over those levels. We have about a minute and a half left until the open, guys. Let's do this. About a minute and a half left. Depends on which oil. So there was an explosion heard in the Iran capital of Tehran. The president said he sees gasoline prices going down, quote, very quickly on CNN. He said, I rate the war at a 12 or 15 out of 10, according to CNN. He says Cuba will fall pretty soon. Dollar also extends rise versus yen, lasts up 0.3%. Some more tension going on right now. Hassett is also still speaking. He said private actors are going to work out the way refunds should happen regarding the reversal of the tariffs. Hassett said military is putting together a plan so we can get ships through. And here we go, guys. Here's the opening bell. Bitcoin is still falling. Now, Bitcoin is still falling down. We have about 15 seconds here before the opening bell. 15 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. The Nasdaq's starting to rebound back up, though. And oil has been popping over highs at about 88.50 at its top today. Here's the opening bell. Good luck. All right, there's the bell. Nasdaq moving up a little bit at the opening bell. If we take a look at stocks this morning here, PayPal has spiked up over the last few minutes. Alphabet's up since the open, but it's net down on the day, just like everything else. Nvidia is actually rising back up some here with the Nasdaq pushing. So Nvidia's rising. Apple's actually cracking lows, though. Apple just broke lows in the last minute at the open. Microsoft is flying up to 412s, almost 413s, but it's still pretty close to the opening bell. So we'll give this some time. We have some green, but I don't know if it's necessarily holding here. Amazon up since the bell as well at 216 or so right now. Nvidia, again, spiking up to over 180s. Oil dipping down some here, though. Here's Nvidia. Currently at 180.50s at the opening bell. Nasdaq starting to press back down here. I have to wait about 3 or 4 minutes at least, but I'm going to wait for the orb probably here as well. So I got to wait for the orb is what I'm doing. And we can even look at my trading view script here to see how the orb is progressing right now. So far, it's actually a pretty tight opening range here on a 5-minute chart. Here's the opening range on a 5-minute chart on the QQQ, which is the Nasdaq. Just to put this into perspective, this is the Nasdaq. So the opening range is very small right now, but it's forming. So we'll give it some time. Nvidia over the 200 exponential, over the volume weighted average price. We're pretty close to the opening bell, but it is over those levels here. I slept through the jobs report. What happened? It came in really, really weak for jobs. Negative 92,000 jobs. They revised December's 48,000 job gains down to negative 17,000 for December, and unemployment stayed at 4.4%, which was higher than expected. That was the jobs report. It was rough. It was rough, to be honest. Yeah, all of it's on the red banner on the screen here. Yeah, we're after the opening bell today, though. And again, going on after the opening bell, Goolsby speaking. We have business inventories at 10 a.m. Daily is going to speak later on as well. Atlanta Fed GDP comes out. All right, Nvidia is starting to still push. Oil down to 87.80s a barrel. 87.80s a barrel here. Nasdaq at 24.7s here, 24.7s. I'm still watching for my orb setup here, so we're kind of waiting for it to form. So we're almost got the first candle on a 5-minute chart out the way. Bitcoin's still down though. Bitcoin has fallen all the way down to 68.9s right now in the morning, down to 68.9s. This was at 74s yesterday. Nasdaq still pushing up. We have a little tight opening range, but here's the Nasdaq go up. We might run into some resistance right here at 24.800s maybe. The 200 exponentials at about 790s. I'm also looking at 735 right here, which is this high. And look at that level reject short term. But look at this previous level right here, reject on a short term chart. Alphabet's rebounding back up. Nvidia's rebounding back up. Microsoft pushing up higher at 411s. We're at 691, 690s on the Nasdaq here. I have to wait. So we're about 5 minutes in the day. I will trade this if we get some good setups here, but I do have to wait some. Looks like a bearish market. Apple getting smacked. Yeah, Apple started cracking lows right at the opening bell, too. Apple's down to 255s. Still a pretty tight opening range here, though. We're not really doing too much right now. I have to wait for this range to break. Oil just broke highs again. 88.61s now for WTI crude. 88.65s, 68s. The new 2-year high. 88.70s. The new 2-year high for WTI crude. Nasdaq is still falling back down here. First 5 minutes is done. Hassett says expect energy output to be more stable soon. On the US jobs, on net, it's almost a wash, he says. Wright says they're allowing India to take oil, refine, and move into the market. Tesla also sends Canadian Model 3 inventory to the US as it expects Chinese EVs back, according to Electric. The president also said Cuba is, quote, going to fall pretty soon, end quote, US president. He says he sees gas prices going down, quote, very quickly. Oil surging to $89 a barrel plus for WTI crude. NASDAQ is getting really close to lows here. I think I have to jump on at least a little bit of a short right now. Right? I think we're getting close to lows. We'll jump on a little short here. There we go. I'm going to take half of this off. We just tapped at the lows. Hopefully we don't retrace too much. We already took some profits in. I'm going to give it a second though. We tapped lows. So we have a cushion. Give it a second to break down. A little volatile though. We're only 6 minutes into the day. But I'll give it a second. Alright, I'm going to... There we go. I'm going to take some of this off here just to protect. Do I have my window capture screen up? There we go. Alright, so we're green. I want to let this test lows here. We're about flat right now. I'm trying to give this time. If you guys want to see my trades here, I'll put them up on the side of the screen like this. We're down. I want to give this a second to break lows again though. It's not really the orb I want. We got a couple minutes left, but I just want to see if we crack lows and break down. We've already taken most of this off, so it's a pretty safe trade. We're getting close to this low. There we go. I'll take another piece off here just to lock it in. And now we just have a little less risk. I think there's enough fear to maybe justify getting a little bit of getting in a little earlier than I do. There we go. I'm gonna start cutting the rest of this here. Yeah, I'm out. Still green. Small green though, but still green nonetheless. We'll give it some more time. Yeah, today you need some water stops for sure. Yeah, look at that bounce back up. So I got out just in time, dude. I got out just in time. Also, a firm I haven't really talked about, but check out Take Profit. Some of the most relaxed rules in the game in funding. Some of the most relaxed rules. Them and Lucid have some great rules. No activation fee. You can take daily withdrawals once you're over their buffer as well. You can use promo code BG if you want to help support me. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. You can find the links to all of my affiliates in the description. I mean, I made money on the trade. I got out when I should have though, because we bounced back up pretty high. And so again, I'm sitting tight. I'm watching oil prices, you know, surge to almost $90 a barrel for WTI crude as well. So it's a situation where I'm looking for the 10-minute opening range breakout. Retest is what I'm looking for. But while I'm waiting for that, you know, and here's the opening range that I have on the chart right now for that. So here's the opening range. And so while I'm waiting for that, I'll take a couple scalps. I don't mind scalping. Alright, so we have this orb that we're waiting to break here. So I'm showing you guys this. I would say the opening range breakout if I have to draw it on this chart. Give me a rectangle here. Yeah. It's 830. This is the opening range that I'm looking at. Maybe lower this a little bit. There we go. That's the opening range I'm looking for right here. I need a break and a retest. And so far, we're pretty sideways. That's what I'm looking for here. There's the range I'm looking for. I gotta get used to Trade Evade. How do I raise this without it following me? I guess I gotta zoom out some, maybe. Volume. I do like the fact that they have the volume profile on the right side, which is useful. Just won't stay up. At 10 a.m. we do have some data coming out as well here, so I don't know how much that's going to move markets. But we do have data at 10 o'clock coming. Hassett says markets will move forward quickly when the Iran conflict is resolved. Effort in Iran is far ahead of schedule. He said, ready to use tools as soon as we have to, but optimistic can resolve near-term problems soon regarding Iran and oil. Hey, what's up, Graph? Thanks, chat. I lost my account. Chat's gonna be the chat, Kato. Listen. Yeah, I don't know whose fault it is, Kato, but it's definitely not your fault, is what I'm saying. Yeah, looking at our poll, we're honestly pretty split out of 700 votes. 52% say no, the market does not rebound. 48% say yeah. So far, we have rebounded somewhat, but it's kind of a small range here. We're starting to test the top of this opening range. Yeah, if we take a quick peek at oil here. Oil is starting to head back down, and the NASDAQ is starting to pop a little bit higher. So, we got time. Let's wait. Hassett says on private markets, they're well functioning. No systemic issues with markets, he says. So JP Morgan now expects the Bank of England to deliver the next interest rate cut in April instead of March. White House economic advisor Hassett says there's so much security in that space they can handle stress. No systemic issues in markets, he says. Upper left, continuous. Zoom in, zoom out, time period. Oh, thank you, sir. That actually did it. Thank you, because I want to put this up here in the chat so you guys can see it. Here's the range, though. Again, we're still in this opening range area here, guys, on my charts. Here's the range still, waiting for it to break. We've been in this opening range now for 15 minutes. All right, so another candle opened up here. 24,670s here, chat. Start to head back up somewhere at 688s. So we've dropped a lot from jobs and Iran fears and oil spikes this morning. Again, the Strait of Hormuz is basically closed. We saw news that a cargo ship got attacked there earlier today. We saw news that the Qatar foreign minister said that if this conflict drags on even a couple days, oil could spike towards $150 a barrel. And all of this stuff is just renewing the fears that we've seen over the last few weeks. Today's job market, scary market today. Scary market. Negative 92,000 jobs, private payrolls for February. December was revised down to a negative number from positive 48,000 to a negative 17,000 for January. And now the worries are about February's numbers, or January's numbers getting revised down next month here. So we'll see. It's a red day for me thus far. Is that Carlton from Fresh Prince? The GOAT? Carlton? All right, NASDAQ starting to come back down. Look at these drops here showing up in markets. Still waiting. All right, so I'm showing that just in, gold is being sold at a discount in Dubai as the conflict makes it almost impossible to get out. Asset on private markets did say they're well functioning. I'm printing green today. Yeah, it's not the worst case max for sure, but it's definitely not good. Yeah, and you can see the volume here causing a big rebound. It's Jerome Powell's fault. You think he should have cut more? We cut 75 basis points last year. You think we should have cut more this year? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying. It's stagflation recession. See what GDP shows up next week. Next week we got CPI, we have GDP, we have PCE inflation all next week. So we'll see what those numbers look like. What's up, Sam? We're literally in a bull market. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think the market's looking super bad right now. It's the market's looking okay. Yeah, speaking of Bitcoin here, guys, and again, we're still in a very tight opening range for a Friday. What's interesting is look at yields right now. It went down from 8:30, jobs report being weak, and then they spiked right back up, and then they're still net down from it, but not as much. Market's kind of flat here. The good thing is that I can wait for this range to break. The problem is that when we're this flat, we're 20 minutes into the opening bell. When we're this flat, sometimes even when we do break this range, we can get chop. So there's risks, I think, the longer the chop continues, of us basically doing something like this where we spike up over the range and then come back down and just kind of fake everybody out and do stuff like that. You see that a lot as well, so I'm trying to be patient here. I did not, Sam, see the posts, but I'll go check it out. Our target for Bitcoin across the day is 72.5s or 72.3s. Bitcoin closing today at 69,000. Yeah, join our Discord here, guys. So if you want to check out our Discord, it's completely free. It doesn't cost a thing. It's completely free. It doesn't cost anything. We got a lot of good members there hanging out, giving knowledge. I'm not one of those people that charges for their Discord. So if you want to check it out, here's the Discord link. I appreciate the support. Thanks so much. And you can check out the Discord. I'm just going to stick around. I'm going to see what some of these other economic numbers show. We have business inventories and retail inventories going live. But again, check out our Discord. I'm going to delete yours, Pawn, just because I posted a newer one. But come visit me and Blaze talking smack. All right, here you go. We just broke the top of the range of this orb. Let's see if it holds now. Again, we popped over the top, and then look at this little retracement back down. It wasn't a clean enough break. I kind of need a candle to close over this first. So this is what I was saying. Sometimes when choppy days, we can break the range and then come back down. So I'm going to wait here and let's see if we get a candle. One of us. Market's probably in a tight range until 10. Business inventories month over month for December expected to show up at 0.1% today. Excluding auto retail inventories expected at 0.2%. All right, we're starting to come back down here today, guys. Let's see if we hold. All right, we're starting to fall a little bit here. You know who I blame this choppy action on today, guys? I blame it on this dude right here. Look at this guy right here. Look at him just sitting there smug. Not the guy on the top, the guy on the bottom. Look at that guy right there. Look at this guy right here. The audacity of that man right there. This guy right here. You know, the audacity of him. No, I'm not in a trade. The market's basically flat right now. It's not really, I'm not really liking the market here. It's too flat. It's too choppy. But yeah. It's Steve the Bear's fault for sure. We're in a very tight range right now. I have to wait, just wait for this range to break. Sorry guys, it's kind of boring right now with this, dude. Why don't you have a bull? Well, to be honest, he's kind of an obituary over here, if you really look at him. Like, that's kind of his obituary right there, you know? Steve the Bear. Alright, we're starting to pop a little bit, but still down. Look at this range here. I traded a little bit after the opening bell, but it wasn't a lot. I call shenanigans? You mean the restaurant shenanigans? People want to leave the country, need to move. Alright, guys. Honestly, it's kind of a buzzkill, the opening bell today after this report. So. You are the bull on top. I gotta wait for this range to break, though. We're sitting around waiting for it here, guys. I'm glad a lot of you guys got the Super Trooper reference. It's either Super Trooper. What is the other one with Shenanigans? Is it Waiting? Is the restaurant called Shenanigans and Waiting as well? All right, we're starting to head down here. We're at 665s. Or is it Office Space Shenanigans as well? All great movies. Waiting, Office Space, Super Troopers, all good, all good. The Report was the movie most likely chopped today. Yeah, I've worked in the service industry, so I relate to Waiting, the movie. Some people are just mean, dude. They're just mean. But I think if you've worked it, you're less likely to be mean to waiters if you've actually worked in that industry before. Yeah, this much volume early on creates chop. Yeah, that's what we're seeing for sure. We got a really obvious opening range, but it is a Friday, and so the risks are a little bit more profound, I think. Cash says I'm up $1,000 today for the first time. Hey, congrats, my friend. Congrats. Chotskis? Chotskis. That's from Office Space. Yeah, that's probably true, Sublimes. Yeah. I'm not saying everybody does, nobody deserves it, but some people are also just mean, you know. Yeah, oil, guys. Let's take a look. Oil just broke highs of the last few minutes. Still not highs of the day. It's at 89.05s. Highs of the day are 89.60s. Just under $90 a barrel for oil. So yeah, I expected more action today too, Ariel. John owns a Chick-fil-A? No. I like Chick-fil-A though. Their mac and cheese is good. I'm from Louisiana, so I call my grandmother Mimi. My Mimi used to make some great mac and cheese. I can still remember it. Kind of like Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. Anyways, range-bound market is range-bound. You can see here's the orb setup here, but we don't really have any break of it yet. We got to just sit around and wait here today, guys. Remember the folks from Tuesday that said not to buy oil? I'm sure you do. All right, Nasdaq's starting to come back down here, though. I'm going to definitely be more tempted to short. Oh, now I'm not going to be tempted to short. Look at this rebound back up. So we do have data coming out right now in terms of business inventories in about 10 seconds. Maybe this is some front loading into it, but business inventory is expected at 0.1% for December. It drops in 2 seconds. 1 second. Here's the report. Business inventory showed up flat as expected at 0.1%. But look at this rebound in markets here, chat. Okay, so some big catalyst has happened. I don't think this is business inventories. I think it's something else. Goolsby said stagflation is the worst case scenario for central banks. So the Iran's Revolutionary Guard target U.S. forces in UAE's Al Dhafra Air Base. Goolsby says oil shock can lead in stagflation direction. Timing for sensible action keeps getting pushed back in terms of rate cuts. We can commence rate cuts by the end of this year. It's a tough miss on the jobs report today. According to Goolsby, several months like that would be a concern. But look at the spike in markets here, guys. I don't think this... I mean, retail inventory is 0.4 versus 0.2 expected, maybe, but what a spike here. Yeah, President said earlier, no deal unless unconditional surrender. So look at that pop up. So we broke the top of the range here. Maybe we can buy the dip, but we're also at the 200 exponential. So I do think I have to kind of wait here, to be honest. I don't think this is clean enough. I'm looking at news here. I don't really see anything besides business inventory showing up flat and retail inventory showing up at 0.4 versus 0.2%. Outside of that, I don't see any news. Yeah, I'm not buying right now. It could be 10 a.m. order dump. We're starting to head up. Could have bought this pullback here. Hopefully I don't get left behind in this. We're at the 200 EMA here on the NASDAQ though. 762, 763s. FOMO. Bull trap. Airlines popping, probably something oil related. Yeah, let's take a look at oil throughout all this. So oil dipping down, NASDAQ popping higher here. Yeah, we're still at the 200 EMA. We got to break up the range, but it's not clean enough for me to buy it yet. Yeah, I don't see any breaking news here. It's just a 10 a.m. market pump, I think, to be honest. NASDAQ down to 8760s. Gold jumping. If we dip down to like maybe 700s or 720s, maybe I'll try to buy it. It depends on how big the drop is though. So do we have a dip down to the previous range here? 740s. Maybe I'll start small here. As long as we don't turn back down too quickly the other way. Alright, so we did buy this dip here. We're up a little bit. See if we pop. There we go. I'm going to take a piece of that off. Can y'all see this piece of that off? Where's my window capture? It's supposed to be up. Alright, so we got a really nice bounce here. I'm going to take a little bit more of this off. We got to bounce exactly where we wanted it. Look at that. Alright, so we bought the opening range dip and it worked so far. We have 2 contracts left though. We'll hold this flat now. We're about 360 on this account. We'll let it test this range here though. Alright, we're now red. I'm going to cut it. So now we're up about 300s. The dip is just too big. So we made it a little bit initially and then got out. And now the market's starting to fall back down. Choppy market for a Friday here, unfortunately, chat. That's how it goes today, I think. Yeah, the job numbers were terrible. They were not good at all. So I bought a dip again. See how this goes. We got a really nice rebound back up here. I'm going to take some of this off right there. A little bit more off here. We're doing pretty good. We'll hold the rest break even, see if we can get over that 200 EMA right here. We're just kind of scalping futures right now. Apex is really good for this too, just because super cheap accounts. So it's like 30 bucks for the base account. Really great updated rules. You can pick an end of day drawdown option instead of trailing and more. And so kind of the cheapest accounts in the game for Apex. You can use promo code BG or BT on Apex. On Lucid, you can use promo code BT. Take profit, you can use promo code BG. I'm just going to hold this break even though. I do want to give this a second to push back higher here. I'll try to show the window capture up. I don't know why it's not working here. Window capture is kind of buggy. I'm going to hold this flat if we break underneath my entry here again, which is the blue line right here is my entry. We've already taken a majority of it off, and I don't want to go red. I'm out. Got out flat on the end, up about 670 on this one. E-mini is battling, trying to get over the 50 level. I don't want to leave myself too exposed over the weekend. There's too much going on. I mean, I understand that for sure. Last couple weeks are crazy. Alright, so NASDAQ coming back down after trying to break out on the top, but it just couldn't really hold there. Still maintaining this choppy sideways action here, but we're starting to flush back down some towards the bottom of this range here. Alright, so starting to flush back down some, but still in this range though. The president just tweeted again. He said, quote, "We are moving thousands of people out of various countries throughout the Middle East. It is being done quietly but seamlessly. The State Department under Secretary Marco Rubio is doing a great job." End quote, President Donald Trump. So I don't know if any of this is going to wake markets up here, to be honest, though. I don't know if any of this is really going to move things. Slight job miss? This is not slight. Yeah, this was negative 92,000 and big revised numbers from December as well here, to be honest. So it's not slight at all. It's scary to me. Just what we need, a recession coming soon, maybe. You know? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Oh, great. Ooh, I might have got it out the way fast enough. I'm taking a withdrawal from one of these accounts, and yeah, let's see, that should be good. We sign this here. Hey, Marcos. A depression. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Again, I'm just not really seeing anything I like. It's too sideways and choppy. So, we'll see what happens. Stupid dumb monitor. Job numbers combined with high oil move towards stagflation. Maybe. But again, we'll see. We'll see, guys. I'm going to cut out of here. Listen, check out BT if you want to check out Lucid. BT if you want to check out Apex. Links are in the description. Check them out. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. And we will be back next week. Next week, we have CPI, inflation, job numbers, and more. So y'all be careful. Y'all be careful. Sideways, choppy day, although we are starting to test the top of the range. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. Good luck. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Yeah, I'm going to redirect everybody to that second stream. So I'll see you guys over there. And yeah, y'all be good. Have a great day.